Welcome to TypeScript session. My name is Doris Chen. I'm a developer evangelist from Microsoft. And I know this is a relatively short talk, so I just share with you some of my resource here. Most likely my presentation will be posted on my blog. It's a long URL, unless you take a picture, because I don't remember that either. But if you search Doris space MSDN, most likely the top two links, one link is my blog address. Pretty good. And I also do some video training. In case you're interested, you could go to Channel 9, just search for Doris Chen. Channel 9 is more like a free video training repository for Microsoft posting, so you could find a lot of other training material as well. Doris T. Chen, my Twitter, and then standarddoris.chen at Microsoft.com. So basically, I'm a web person. I have been doing web development for many, many years. So I actually love to get some of your background. How many of you have known JavaScript? Okay, almost everybody. Very good. How about TypeScript? Have some exposure? Okay, great. You're in the right place. Okay, so basically, if anybody try Angular 2, that's probably one of the main reasons you're attending this session. Yes, Angular 2 is developed in TypeScript, right? So I will maybe show just briefly about the supporting, but I would like to actually share with people more things about what is exactly TypeScript, right? Because I see quite a few of you have some exposure, but may not know what's the difference, right, between JavaScript and TypeScript. And then obviously, most important thing is what's so cool about that? What's new about that? So we're going to talk about some of the new feature in TypeScript 2.0, as well as we're going to talk about the supporting Angular is pretty obvious because Angular 2 is developed with TypeScript. Okay, so let me actually get started with. So what is exactly TypeScript? I mean, I used to say we developers, it's like an ever-catching game. We have all the new frameworks, all the new languages, it's like we're always catching up. Do we need another scripting language? Basically that's a question when I saw TypeScript, ask myself, right? So, the more I look into that, and the more I understand TypeScript better, and I feel this is not another scripting language. So when I move around, I'll tell you why is that. So definition-wise, is very clear. You look into any JavaScript implementation, I would probably say a couple of hundred lines code is totally good. It's doable. Once it's getting to 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 lines of code, things getting a little tricky. A lot of times, some other people's code, you probably just say, let me just do a wrap. I don't want to change somebody's code. Let me just do a little wrapper, make sure it's working. Why? Because it's a little hard to scale. It's a little hard to maintain. If you just need to sort of like change anything into the code somebody have been written, you probably maybe break something, right? So the time spending to do the maintenance debugging probably takes much longer. So a lot of people feel, JavaScript, the nature of that is it's a little hard to scale. Plus, there's a lot of other things, when we come around, we could talk about that. So, by definition, we want some strongly typed language, right? So, this is why we think about it. We actually started with a project called Monaco, which is a browser editor. And this is actually where Microsoft product team thinking this is a good idea to have another language, which is more strongly typed scripting language. This is called TypeScript. So one big reason for that is it's easy to scale. And then TypeScript, you use all the cool features, and then it automatically compile into plain JavaScript in runtime. So it is still JavaScript, but it is actually a much better way, a much better tool support to use TypeScript. So if you look at it, the reason we want to actually have static types is because you could have better tooling support. This is important, isn't it? Right? So, and again, it runs in any browser, any host, any OS. And if you go to this particular link, TypeScript.len.org, you will actually go to, let me see, okay, the internet is working here, then, it's like it's not, maybe I'm offline something. So it's basically go to a big website, and then everything, there's a little GitHub, like a sign just right beside the website. So you could go to the GitHub and take a look at all the implementation of TypeScript. So it's totally open source and in GitHub already. And so JavaScript is TypeScript, right? So basically, this is the conclusion. I saved this slide. Because why? Because a lot of people ask me kind of the other way around. Like I work with the Java community for a long time, right? A lot of my Java friends says, hey, Doris, I don't know JavaScript, but I heard there's something called TypeScript, and I could use a lot of object-oriented kind of syntax. Could I skip JavaScript, go from, direct to TypeScript? The answer is no. You do need to understand JavaScript. So JavaScript basically is a baseline. Once you understand JavaScript, you're 90% there to appreciate TypeScript. So you could, everybody, are you preparing your resume? You could put a TypeScript on your resume if you know JavaScript. Yeah, take my word for it, because it is 90% of there is JavaScript. The only 10% is more TypeScript specific. But you are the one to choose either use it or not to use it. But for me, I feel it's especially the pre-compilation, that a particular feature is really awesome. Because I'm from a Java world. I'm actually sometimes struggle with the JavaScript because it was like, why? Why it's not working? Nothing. I don't see any error message whatsoever. But anyway, so the core part is JavaScript. We're adding optional type definition, type kind of all the information associated with that. So like I said, if you understand JavaScript, you're 90% there. Isn't that cool? So you all know TypeScript, not after this session, even before this session. After this session, you 100% know this TypeScript. Okay, so I want to actually just share with you a pretty common thing. Web is evolving, right? We actually have, don't ask me the name convention about ECMA 2015, ECMA 6, ECMA 7, don't ask me those things. I usually just say ECMA 6 or 7. So it is always has a little gap from the current stage to the future direction. So it doesn't matter it's early stage or we move on to the new stage, which is ECMA 6 and 7, right? There's always a gap. So this makes our life quite a bit harder because a lot of times we want to try some cool feature, some new feature, but we're worrying about the compatibility with the browser. We're not quite sure if the browser will actually handle this properly, right? So I see a lot of people try to have different version, right? But with TypeScript, this is actually being handled pretty well. You see that in the configuration file. You could define if you want a default target is ECMA 5 or ECMA 6. Based on that, you could do your compilation. Hence, it's for me, you could actually sort of compile down to one level. If you use ECMA 6 compiler, for example, the first place, and then you see there's a browser that doesn't support that, you could always sort of compile down into ECMA 5. I think they go down into ECMA 3 or something. You could always do that. So again, this is just the same thing we just did before. Through that compiler, you could actually get your old plain JavaScript. There's nothing, really mysterious about that. Most of the time, it's very similar as TypeScript. Some of the feature doesn't support in JavaScript. It just actually converted like a class, converted as a function, right? Things like that. So it's no big deal. But for me, when I actually try to use TypeScript, I don't really look back to JavaScript anymore. I just work with TypeScript because that's how I take advantage of the nice features, things like that. So this is sort of like a fundamental. Hope you get an idea. Next level is what's new. And obviously, I could talk hours about all the new features, but I only have a little bit, a couple minutes left. So I'm going to focus on one feature for TypeScript 2.0, which is called non-notable types. And there's also a control flow analysis associated with that. So let's take a quick look. How many of you heard about this feature? Okay, this is sort of like the number one feature listed on the community kind of request form. So that's why we implemented. So any of the primitive kind of data type in JavaScript, very easily you have number, string, boolean, right? But when you look at all the detail, for every type of those number, string, you always have to have the valid data versus undefined type and null type. These two always associate with any valid data associated with those data types, isn't it? So as a JavaScript developer, I bet you spend a lot of time to do the checking. You want to make sure it's all valid data. So in this particular approach in TypeScript, we try to actually defining a nullable type, meaning I don't want anybody to worry about checking all the null, checking all the undefined. I just want to actually adding two new different types. So all the number, all the string, all the boolean from now on, it's all valid. You don't have to worry about empty string, null, undefined. Okay, this is our approach. So we have two kind of like, we extract those things into two different type, null and undefined. So when you actually do the final representation, you probably do like this. For a typical number type in JavaScript, you will do number or a null or an undefined in TypeScript. Again, this is an option. It's a new feature. You don't have to use it, right? So basically, there's a lot of TypeScript tools available. If you don't like to use Visual Studio Code, you could actually using some other editors. It's all integrate with that. And this list is growing. Actually, this is a little capture from like 9 months ago. So I'm sure there's more edit tools associated with that. And then this is some projects that's already in TypeScript. If you, in case you're interested in some real life example, could take a close look. So all the central location is TypeScript.land.org, and then you could actually just use npm to install TypeScript really easy, one command line. Or if you use VS Code, then everything is so much easier. It's all there, right? So, and again, appreciate to send me feedback, Twitter or email, because I work very closely with the product team, and they really like to know if there's any particular feature you want to know, or for example, you have a really, really cool type definition which is not there yet, and you'd like us to support, or we could sort of look into that. And also, any kind of feedback on TypeScript is good. Well, but that, I think I will stay here a little bit in case I have some questions, but other than that, thank you very much.